Translator, Editor Hen Yi. Yet the rock spirit grew ever more obedient with each passing moment. Otherwise, this fellow would certainly have long since fled with the heart of stone clenched in its jaws, instead of remaining here with a fawning expression, gazing at Ling Han with eyes filled with anticipation, awaiting his approval. Brother Ling, your puppet is truly lifelike, not the slightest bit like a cold and rigid puppet. Wenren Chan said sincerely. The golem was instantly displeased, letting out an indignant roar toward Wenren Qianshan, who was a puppet. It was a dignified spirit born of the world itself, a life form of the five elements, cherished beneath heaven's favor. Ling Han laughed heartily and stored the golem into the black tower, allowing it to refine the heart of stone and elevate its tier as swiftly as possible. In truth, the effect would certainly have been even better if he had subdued the giant golem earlier. After all, that creature had been in the deity transformation tier. However, first, Ling Han did not wish to openly reveal the Black Tower, and second, he was a man who valued bonds and sentiments. Since the rock spirit had sworn allegiance to him, he would naturally think of ways to strengthen it, rather than discarding it upon encountering a stronger existence. The rock spirit likely understood this as well, and thus its loyalty deepened even further. Yes, quite extraordinary indeed, Ling Han said with a faint smile, though he did not reveal that it was actually a rock spirit. Qianshan had always believed Brother Ling was famed for his sword techniques, yet never expected your archery to be even more astonishing. That arrow actually annihilated a rock spirit at the deity transformation tier. Such power is truly beyond imagination, Wenren Chan exclaimed in admiration. Ha ha, Lady Wenren, there's no need to raise me so high. Ling Han waved his hand dismissively. She herself was also a prodigy among their generation, and her talent was likely no less than that of Zhuxuan Er. After pausing briefly, he continued, Let's go. We should continue forward. Everyone nodded and advanced onward. This region was astonishingly vast, as though its end could never be reached. Yet after half a day passed, the blazing sun in the heavens suddenly vanished. In its place rose a moon that emitted soft, gentle rays of light, its glow cold and clear like flowing water. Everyone was astonished. The master of this ancient site had truly expended immense thought and effort to recreate an environment so closely resembling that of the outside world. Even countless stars hung scattered across the sky. Ling Han activated the Eye of Truth and looked closely. Earlier it had been the sun, and he had not dared to stare for long, lest the blazing radiance blind his eyes. But the moon was different. The harm from its light was limited, and he could endure it completely. After a moment, his expression changed drastically as he exclaimed, Those are real stars, exactly the same as the ones outside. What? Everyone was visibly shaken. Stars are meteors, one, and often contain rare high-level metals, which is why they shine in the heavens, Wenren Chan said. Ling Han nodded and said, Above the firmament, a mysterious force of absorption anchors those meteors in place, so the starry sky we see remains fixed. With the alternation of day and night, under the power of the world's force, they revolve along their trajectories. The rabbit said, Actually, these stars are only several thousand miles away from us. If not for the existence of the astral winds, even flower blossom tier elites could easily reach the ends of the sky. But precisely because of the astral winds, even shattering void tier elites dare not charge upward recklessly. Only, Ling Han continued, raising his hand and making a chopping motion toward the heavens. The first step in splitting open the skies was to sever the astral winds. Otherwise, if one could not even reach the heavens, how could they speak of splitting the skies? Shattering void tier beings are far too powerful. The attacks they unleash can pierce through the layer of astral winds and strike down the stars in the heavens. However, when those stars pass through the astral wind layer, the majority are worn away, and only a very small few among them can ultimately fall to the ground. The rabbit continued. Brat, are you seeing things wrongly? Those stars can't possibly be the same as the ones outside. Ling Han shook his head and said, I'm absolutely not mistaken. He pondered for a moment before saying, Then there is only one possibility. A supreme being forcibly shattered the astral wind layer and plucked those stars completely intact. Plucking stars and capturing the moon? How powerful must that be? Wenren Chanjan was utterly dumbstruck. Even Shattering Void Tier elites can't achieve such a feat. Ling Han nodded. Shattering Void Tiers could indeed shake the stars from the heavens. After all, it was merely a vast distance protected by the astral wind layer. But to charge through that layer and pluck the stars themselves, the difficulty was on an entirely different level. He could not help but shiver inwardly. Long ago, an ancient dynasty had once attempted to split open the skies, only to fail in the end, leaving behind 4 great treasure vaults. Could this ancient site belong to that dynasty? Back then, though they had failed to split the heavens, breaking through the astral wind layer should not have posed much difficulty, so plucking a few perfectly intact stars would have been reasonable. If that truly were the case, then the Purple Moon Empire and the 5 great sects being in such haste also made sense. This had once been a dynasty qualified to attempt splitting the skies. It truly becomes more and more tempting, Ling Han said with a smile. Everyone sat down. Ling Han took out various ingredients, and the group began preparing dinner. Walking within such a dangerous place, they had to maintain themselves in peak condition at all times. Otherwise, they might suffer grievous injury. Time was indeed precious. But they absolutely could not advance recklessly. Wenren Qian, as well as Li Fengyu and his sister, had obviously also prepared their own rations. Yet when they smelled the enticing aroma of the food Ling Han and the others were cooking, they could not help but stare greedily. After tasting a bite of the dishes, they instantly cast aside their own ingredients and stiffly moved closer to obtain more food. Where's the meat I placed here? Li Fengyu felt puzzled. He had just grilled a slice of meat and planned to bring it to his sister, yet it had suddenly vanished. His gaze swept about before stopping upon the rabbit, and he said, "Uncle Rabbit, did you secretly eat it?" The rabbit turned its head aside and said disdainfully, "Pa, would Uncle Rabbit stoop to stealing your food? Then why is your mouth chewing?" "Uncle Rabbit simply enjoys chewing. Is that not allowed?" "The oil is dripping out." "Nonsense, Uncle Rabbit is a vegetarian." "You damn rabbit, the thief that stole it." Li Fengyu was driven nearly mad with anger. This shameless rabbit, too lazy to grill food itself, and instead stealing from others. Utterly detestable. The rabbit ignored him completely. Its ruby-like eyes wandered about in circles. With its nature of refusing to suffer losses, it was clearly taking revenge on Li Fengyu's loose mouth. Yet because the others were now watching it vigilantly, the difficulty of stealing had greatly increased. Where's the soup I placed here?" Ling Han was also startled. Then he looked toward the rabbit and said, "Did you do it?" "Such wrongful accusations. Whenever you all lose something, you immediately blame Uncle Rabbit. Is Uncle Rabbit that kind of rabbit?" The rabbit leapt up in grievance. "Yes." Everyone nodded simultaneously. The bowl I placed here is also gone," Zhu Xuan'er said as well, feeling rather puzzled. "It has nothing to do with Uncle Rabbit." The rabbit hurriedly raised its claws before anyone could question it. "It really wasn't the rabbit." Ling Han shook his head. His divine sense had been constantly locked onto the rabbit. If the rabbit had made any strange movements, it would not have escaped his notice. After all, his divine sense was at the heaven tier, even if only a shred of it remained. Then who had done it? Everyone wondered. Who knew suddenly began giggling, reaching out and grabbing something white, and said, "Let's grill it and eat it." Translator, Reverie Editor, Henyi. What Hu Knew seized within her palm was a small creature brimming with fury, resembling somewhat a bamboo rat, though its coloration was entirely different. Its body was plump and rounded, supported by 4 stubby limbs, and trailing behind it was a long tail. Had this creature been cloaked in black fur, it might have appeared somewhat terrifying. Yet with its snowy white pelt, delicate pink claws, and a pair of enormous eyes that nearly occupied 1/3 of its face, the fellow instead looked foolishly adorable. The tiny fellow struggled frantically to break free from Hu New's grasp. However, burdened by its short limbs, all its efforts proved futile, and it could only wriggle helplessly while letting out panicked squeaks. Hu New began drooling and muttered, "Should it be grilled or boiled? Grilled smells better, but boiled tastes fresher. Sigh, why is there only one? This makes things very difficult for New. You can't eat it!" Zhu Xuan'er, Wenren Qian, and Li Zishan all cried out in unison. Such an adorable little creature, Who could possibly bear to eat it? Why? Hu Nu asked with confusion, her gaze turning vigilant as she stared at the others. You all want to snatch it? Humph, Nu is no vegetarian. If you want to fight, Nu will fight. Ling Han felt curiosity stir within him and said, could this little fellow be the thief from earlier? Great, daring to frame your Uncle Rabbit, slaughter it and eat it, the rabbit declared aggressively. Damn rabbit, spouting nonsense again. Believe it or not, I'll slaughter you first. Wenren Qianshan threatened. All right then, Nu wants to eat rabbit meat. Hu Nu immediately shifted her target back to the rabbit. Ling Han waved his hand, instructing Hu Nu to bring the little creature over. He took the round and plump fellow and turned it this way and that, examining it closely. The little creature looked thoroughly embarrassed, even raising its tiny claws to cover its groin. Pooh! It suddenly spat out a small piece of metal. The metal was completely blue, emitting a translucent and sparkling luster. The creature clasped the metal with its two front claws and gazed attentively at Ling Han, as though attempting to curry favor with him. All that saliva, at least be a bit particular when offering gifts, Ling Han said with a smile. Yet in the very next moment his expression visibly changed. This is a precious 8th-tier metal, Jade Sea Azure metal. Everyone was astonished. A plump rat had actually spat out an 8th-tier rare metal. This was truly unbelievable. Could this be a gold-seeking rat? The rabbit exclaimed in shock. According to the legends, this living spirit possesses a special sensitivity toward rare metals. It can sense metal buried even several li underground. Gold-seeking rat. Everyone shook their heads, indicating they had never heard such a name before. Rabbit, did you just make that up? Zhu Xuan asked with a smile. Pah! Don't think you can treat Uncle Rabbit unfairly just because you're a bit prettier. The rabbit stomped its feet indignantly. You've never heard of it because gold-seeking rats are pathetically rare. Although they don't possess powerful combat strength, they are even rarer than true dragons and true phoenixes. It can be said that even in the divine realm, they are priceless treasures. Only then did everyone truly feel moved. This plump and round fellow was actually of the tall, handsome, rich level. The gold-seeking rat gazed at Ling Han with a flattering expression. Toward Hu Nu, it felt overwhelming terror, like a mouse encountering a cat. Even its reactions had dulled from fear. Otherwise, with its natural speed, ordinary people would never have been able to catch it. Yet this human before it could subdue Hu Nu. Naturally, the rat tried to fawn upon Ling Han, because whether it would end up on the grill or inside a boiling pot now depended entirely on him. Its two tiny claws clasped the Jade Sea Azure metal and gently rocked it, as though presenting a tribute. Ling Han could not help but smile. He set the gold-seeking rat down, took the Jade Sea Azure metal, and casually wiped away the saliva the little creature had left upon it. Zilu, the large white rat, immediately fled. Though its body looked plump and round, as though it would pant after only a few steps, its speed was astonishingly swift. In the blink of an eye it vanished without a trace, ridiculously fast. Everyone was stunned. Only then did they realize they had been tricked by an old rat. Who could have imagined that the fellow which looked foolishly adorable while trapped in Hu Nu's hand would actually possess such agility? Simply an agile, damned fatty! Ling Han could not help but think of Ma Duo Bao, who was likewise a damned fatty yet possessed astonishing agility. Nu's grilled meat! Hu Nu cried out mournfully. She had just decided how she wished to eat it, yet the food had already escaped. Ling Han laughed and said, This large white rat has great use. Next time we catch it, let's keep it and raise it. Hu Nu pouted. She truly wanted to eat it, so what else could she do? Her gaze slowly shifted toward the rabbit, and her large eyes began glowing even brighter. The rabbit instinctively covered its backside in terror and cried out, Little girl, what are you trying to do? I'm warning you, don't get any ideas about Uncle Ra. It screamed as Hu Nu had already sunk her teeth into its butt. Everyone continued eating. Before long, Hu Nu suddenly burst into loud laughter and raised both arms. In her hands she held a plump and round large white rat. What else could it be if not that gold-seeking rat? This time it had been caught red-handed. The large white rat clutched a piece of meat in its claws, while one side of its mouth bulged out from stuffing and too much food. It gazed at everyone with innocent eyes. it looked adorably foolish. Everyone could not help but smile, and laughter erupted. I've seen foolish creatures before, but foolish to this degree. This gold-seeking rat truly is a miracle. Humans die in pursuit of wealth, birds die in pursuit of food. How perfectly fitting. This is definitely a gluttonous rat. Earlier it smelled the fragrance and ran over. Even after being caught once, it still hasn't learned its lesson, falling twice in the same place. Hearing everyone's comments, the large white rat awkwardly raised its claws and covered its eyes as though its face had turned red. Ling Han laughed loudly, grabbed the large white creature again and said, "Fatty, follow me from now on. I guarantee you'll have plenty of fine wine and delicious food. As for you, simply display your talent and find rare metals for me." The large white rat squeaked and gestured wildly with its hands and feet, as if protesting. "I merely ate a few pieces of your meat, and you want this rat to sell itself? You dare refuse?" Hu Niu stepped closer and revealed a vicious expression. The large white rat was instantly terrified stiff. Its tail shot straight up, its four limbs stood rigid, and its entire body became stiff. It had actually been frightened into fainting. Pooh! Everyone burst into loud laughter. This rat was far too amusing. It was a cowardly rat that repeatedly came to steal food, yet also a daring rat that could faint from fright. 5 stars for acting cute. Shoo! Yet at that very moment, the large white rat seized Ling Han's moment of carelessness and fled like a wisp of smoke. Shot! Everyone's smiles instantly froze. They had been tricked once again by that large white rat. Ling Han took out a large amount of food and said, "I don't believe it. This fatty will definitely appear again." Everyone shook their heads. As gluttonous as that gold-seeking rat was, it surely would not make the same mistake 3 times, right? As expected, an entire night passed, and the large white rat never appeared again. Morning arrived swiftly, the transition from night to day happening almost in an instant. The sky full of stars and the moon vanished together, while that great fireball slowly rose into the heavens. Although Ling Han still thought often about that gold-seeking rat, there was no time to waste now. Thus he set off forward with everyone.